I grew up in the Midwest in a town of 9,000 people, farming community in Illinois. OI stands for osteogenesis imperfecta, which is a lack of collagen in the bone. So when the bones are formed in the fetus, they don't form regularly. They form, irregularly curved and not as strong. Hence why I had so many broken bones as a kid, and my short stature and all that comes from that. I was only 3 years old when she passed away. I remember that day. Obviously, my brother and I were there in the same room when she was killed. The earliest memory I have of knowing what I wanted to do, I was like 8 years old. I was in 3rd grade. I would tell everyone that I was in a band. I was like, oh yeah, I'm in a band. I knew I was always into music, and that's really kind of where the thought of being a producer kind of came out. I don't know what the hell that involves or even how to get there. There was always that feeling, and it was the whole perception of you're gonna grow up here in this small town. You're living with your grandparents. You'll grow up and probably stay with them, and they'll take care of you, because they gotta take care of you. You can't take care of yourself. When I graduated college, I was the second in his family and first in my mother's family to graduate college in 1999. And he came by and on graduation day, gave me a card and said, I gotta go to work. It actually bothered me a lot, and I was like, I just wanted him to see it, and then it wasn't too long after that when he committed suicide. I'm gonna do what I want because I'm a human being, and if that defies what they say, so be it. I gotta get out of here. This town's like a death trap.
He moved out to Philly with a one-way ticket, nowhere to stay. How many people would do that?
He was on his way, got on the train, and I said, I'll see you in a couple weeks. And then he said, yeah, maybe, but I don't think so this time. And he was right. He didn't come back.
Came out here with a couple $100 and a one-way train ticket.
When Simon first came to town, one of the first places he decided to come was here to Philly International, because he was always into the music and what the label stood for.
He went and sat in front of Gamble and Huff's office here until somebody saw him.
In the rain, all day, with my CD of music, and waited for the A&R.
And the people there in the front office, they were very doubtful. But the minute they heard the music,
some people, when they first meet him, question, is this kid that's doing these little heavy R&B, hip-hop beats? Yeah, this is this kid.
When I heard sampling of some of his projects, I was really impressed and questioned, how did he do this?
First time I heard his music, it just blew me away. Like, I was talking about him for like the next 3 weeks, just, describing him, and then hearing the music, it was just, if his music was just okay, it would have been one thing, but his music was phenomenal.
You don't need $1 million facility to make $1 million record, and Simon knows that. Because Simon could make a hit out of a little Fisher-Price piano, you know what I mean?
When I came out here, there's a lot more competition. I think really, though, that helped me because there was competition, and I kind of threw myself into it, into the big time, to saying, okay, well, I gotta step up. These guys are doing major label records for major label money, and that's what I want. And I'm just going to step my game up a little bit.
I've met a lot of people. Simon is one of the amazing people that I've met in my life.
He's one of those kind of people that when you look at him, you say, okay, he's handling this. He's dealing with life and he's achieving. So I have no excuse.
But I want him to get a #1 record all over the world. And so whatever I can do to help him do that, I'm going to help him do it. Because the world needs to know Simon. He's a perfect example of humility.
You can't not love that guy.
Yeah, you can't not just fall in love with the dude. But you know when you're in the presence of a good person, that you just, I mean, like, that's just, it hits home. To be honest, it is rare.
I work with a lot of producers, and none of them do it like Simon. Let alone, this the only dude I know could pound on a piano with his feet and make a beat, and use his hand and then make it, you know what I mean, make it happen. Like, but he makes the music, and that's what counts. The boy gotta drive like nobody, you know what I mean?
It's amazing what he's done, and most people ought to like take a look at that. I mean, he didn't have a training manual how to get into the music business. He just was like, you know, I'm doing it.
I'd rather try than sit on my ass and be miserable. It's my life. I gotta live it. Nobody else.